Hello, my dears. Daniela here, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. I'm super excited for today's episode because it highlights yet another avenue that you can go down as an esthetician or with your aesthetics degree. Medical spa owner. Now, I say that with a grain of salt because it is not possible in every state for a non-physician to own a medical practice. So if you're a non-physician and you're wanting to open a medical spa, I would get really familiar with the corporate practice and medicine laws, and I would also ensure that your business and your business relationships, meaning if you have a relationship where you're working with a physician, are set up properly. You have all the contracts in place done by a lawyer. Now, in the state of Virginia, it is possible for a non-physician to be a med spa owner. And so I've invited Supreet, who's an esthetician, and she's also a member of my high-level group coaching program, Growth Factor, on the show to walk us through her journey from cosmetology school to medical spa owner. So something that I just want to throw in here too, before we get into the interview. I know there's a ton of estheticians who think that they want to get into medical aesthetics simply because they think they'll make more money. Now, if this is you, I would carefully examine that desire. Yes, 100%, the treatments in a medical environment are more expensive, but so are the costs to perform those and to purchase the equipment. So I don't want to discourage you in any way from going down that path because that was my path. I love medical aesthetics. I love solving hard problems, and I love the results that you can get with light and laser devices. It's something that I'm super passionate about. And, if that's you too, I'm here supporting you 100%, cheering you on all the way. But please don't simply chase the money. You will not make more money if you're moving into an area of practice simply for that reason. You've got to be passionate. And you know what? You can make a ton of money being a day spa owner too. All right. Now that I've got that out of the way, I'm sure you probably are excited to hear Supreet's story. So let's go ahead and play that interview. All right, Supreet, I'm so happy to have you on the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I love sharing really interesting stories. One of the big themes that I like to talk about on this podcast is just like the fact that as an esthetician, you have so many avenues that you can go down, whether you want to be a product rep, whether you want to own a day spa, a med spa, whether you want to be solo, whether you want to move into education. There's just so many things that you can do. And I love sharing stories of people that have done really cool things, which is why I asked you to be on the show. So you're an esthetician in Virginia.
Correct.
And you are the founder and owner of the, oh my gosh, now I just totally Skin Sutra. I was like, okay, don't forget it. Skin Sutra Med Spa in Fairfax.
Correct. Yeah.
That is, I feel like there's so many estheticians that really want to move into the medical space. And you just kind of did that yourself. You just decided to start your own med spa. And, I know that that's not possible in every single state. You have to look at your scope of practice and see, corporate practice of medicine laws and all of that kind of stuff to see who can be an owner of a medical spa. But in Virginia, it is within the scope. So can you walk us through kind of, I guess, let's go way back. Like, how did you get into aesthetics in the first place?
Aesthetics. I was actually started off doing cosmetology. I was doing hair and makeup. And I did hair for straight out of high school. I did vocational school, so I had my cosmetology license. So that was easy, $200 to get your cosmetology license through vocational school is, easy. It was so I thought that could pay me into college, and I'll do that. And then once I got more into doing hair, I thought that was fun, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And especially being, my background is being Indian and having Indian parents are like, you got to be a doctor, you got to be something in medical. And for them, hair wasn't, I guess, their standard. So, and I wanted to do something more as well. So at the same time, I landed a job at a plastic surgeon's office, mm-hmm. Dr. Ann Nicodem. And I started off as a front desk for her. And I still did hair on the side as well. I did brides, mostly brides because I didn't want to work at a salon and I didn't have fixed hours. Mm-hmm. So I did hair for brides. And then I became more interested in aesthetics working for her and realized I can do something else with my license. Mm-hmm. So I started searching and then I figured out, okay, aesthetics, I'll do that. So I went to a local school and figured out I wanted to do aesthetics. But then I started realizing that the master aesthetics was slowly being developed then. It was about 2007, mm-hmm. and they didn't have a license back then for masters. It was still basic, and still estheticians were doing lasers and stuff, but they didn't actually have a license back then. And I remember going into getting my aesthetic license, and I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go ahead and just do the masters as well. Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and did the masters, and I remember going to the school, and I was the first one to graduate with a master's because they didn't know what to do. Actually, they were like, okay, teach her laser, teach her chemical peels and lymphatic drainage. And I really did use that to my advantage. So I got all the training, extra training, and really took advantage of that, to be honest. And I graduated with a master esthetician, and I worked at spas. I worked with other dermatologists. But I really stuck around with the plastic surgeon, Dr. Ann Nicodem. I went from front desk all the way to doing surgery with her in the back office, doing mini liposuctions, tummy tucks, and,
assisting her in those. Yeah.
Correct.
So at what point did you decide, hey, I want to do something on my own? I want to step out and, have this vision for Skin Sutra, and this is what I want to create.
So when I got married, my husband, he obviously saw that, I love aesthetics. I've been in aesthetics for a very long time. And in cosmetology school, I think everybody has a project they have to do. They have to create their own spa. And that was something I did as well. And my husband always knew that was something in the back of my head I wanted to do. And after marriage, he has his own business. And he encouraged me to open my own. He was like, you can do this on your own and we'll figure it out. And I'm like, I can't do this. I got nervous. And even though he told me I didn't have to work, I can be a, stay-at-home mom or whatever I wanted to do. I'm like, that's not me either. So I started researching if I could do this on my own. And then I came to him and I'm like, okay, I think we can do this, but it's going to require a lot of money and a lot of time. And at the time we were living in Tyson's in a condo and we were about to buy a house. And we ended up moving in my parents' basement and we used our down payment towards our house to build this business.
Wow.
And we stayed in my parents' basement more than we expected. We have our first child there, my first son. And we stayed there, built the business up. And I had the support there. I had my mom, my mother-in-law, and my brother even. I mean, there was times where I would pull them to the office, okay, full laundry, we need to do this,
all hands on deck.
Yep, I need you to pass out cards, on the weekend or something. We have an event to do. So everybody was helping, it was like a family affair building up the business, and everybody was supportive. And I was the first one actually in my community, in the Punjabi community as well, to grow something like this. So I got a lot of support. Naturally, I think I get a lot of Desi clients, you would say. I get Indians, Pakis, that's automatically, they feel comfortable with me.
I
So
think it's because they trust. I know that there's so many different skin types out there, and when we're addressing, women of color, like a lot of times the products that we're using or the treatments that we're using are different to treat the skin. Do you think they feel more comfortable with you because you know that skin so well, or is it just a cultural, like just a comfort level?
I think it's a mixture of both, because when we were deciding what treatments we wanted to offer, that was one of my main things, is that there's not a lot of stuff for darker skin types, but there is new treatments coming out. There's new products coming out that are treating these typical disorders and conditions and stuff. So we looked into stuff like that, and I mainly found my niche in acne and discoloration, and in that sense. So the treatments are pretty for all skin types, but I do cater to them. I think
like fits 4 through 6.
Yes, 4 through 6. Even like with my laser hair removal, we do all skin types, but it is appropriate for all skin types.
So are you using like an Alexandrite laser or YAG?
We're using a diode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that, I just want to go back to, like, your husband sounds pretty awesome. That is, I think that it's so important, the people that we, just in general, who we surround ourselves with. There's that Jim Rohn quote that says you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I read that and I read that and I'm like, well, I spend the most time with my husband and my 2-year-old. So, like, my husband is like this, super smart engineer, and my 2-year-old is my 2-year-old. So, but you know what? It's amazing when your family, like, that shows so much belief in who you are as an individual and what you're capable of. And I think that oftentimes it's others that believe in us and see our true potential before we actually can see it, because we are the ones that are filled with self-doubt. And then how are your parents, like, after, because, you're clearly not a doctor, but you're now you're in the medical field. Are they okay with that? Does that count?
Yeah. I mean, it's different for me. It's like, I actually wanted to, discuss this in a different platform as well, but I'm actually come from a religious family as well. And my religion is Sikhism. And so in our religion, we're not supposed to be shaving or cutting our hair. And there's different degrees of interpretations of that. So there was a clash between that and what I did. And for me, it took a while for me to differentiate the difference, that this is my work, my money making, and that's my religion. And I've come to believe whatever I'm believing, but they do understand now. And I think they also understand that it goes back to everybody's beauty is different,
Would technically getting laser hair removal go against your faith?
Everybody interprets it different. I have some that are religious that do, and some that I don't. And that's completely up to them. And that's that same thing that goes to how we say that you let the client tell us what their concern is. You do not tell them what we see in them. We obviously see whatever we want to fix, but you tell the client what they want, what they want to treat.
If it doesn't bother you, it doesn't bother me.
Exactly. So, that's up to their beliefs or whatever it is, but they just thought that I couldn't make money. Obviously, that doing hair and doing that will not make me enough money, that I couldn't make a living off of that. Obviously, they've seen the growth, they've seen the struggle, they've been through it. And, they come to the spa. My mom is like a walking model for me. I mean, she loves getting, pulled aside. Oh yeah, your daughter did this on you, right? And how'd you like it? Look at you looking 20 years younger, She loves getting those compliments.
Well, who doesn't?
I know.
Who doesn't? Wow, that's so interesting. So when you were deciding, you said that your treatments they're for all skin types, but you really cater to fits 4 through 6. So what type of treatments are you offering in your spa? I know you do laser hair removal, but what else are you doing?
So it does make me a little bit limited because the doctor's not always on site.
Uh-huh.
So I do microneedling,
Uh-huh.
and I do radio frequency with microneedling, and then we also do body contouring using radio frequency as well. So those are the two, the top ones, and then laser hair removal.
And then you're also doing like hydrofacial and some other
Correct.
services in there as well.
Yes, and then I have a contractor who does microblading.
Okay, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things, you're like hitting on these two really important pieces for me, something that's just kind of this passion belief that I believe to the core of who I am is like, I want to be able to flip this industry in a way that when women or men go to aesthetic school, their parents will be equally as proud of them if they say they're going to aesthetic school than if they're going to medical school. And I think that there's this big misconception that what we're doing as in the world of aesthetics is all about vanity. It's not a real job. It's not something you can make money at. And when I look at, you know, the highest earning coaching client that I have is in the 8 figures, and that's making some good money. Like,
yeah.
So yes, the average esthetician makes $30,000 a year, but that's not because of our industry. That's because of because our industry only teaches skin and is not teaching the business of things. The opportunity is there because there are tons of women who are doing 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, even 7-figure businesses in aesthetics with an aesthetics degree. So it's one of those things that, you know, yes, you can make money, and it's so much more than getting rid of unwanted hair. You know, it's really giving women and men the confidence to show up as the best version of themselves so that they can be a better mom, a better wife, a better friend, go after a promotion, whatever it is, that they just feel the best version of themselves. And just like your approach, like you said, you know, it's like, it's whatever makes you feel your best. Doesn't bother you, doesn't bother me.
No, exactly. I get those clients as well. Like, especially that was one of my reasons of doing as well. I didn't want to do your day spa. There, you know, there's a difference, you know, between day spa and a med spa. And I didn't want to have your just relaxing. I wanted a treatment base and actually feel that client when they see the results after microneedling. It is amazing. Right. And they love their skin, and they continue, they trust you, you know, and they'll come back for hydrofacials. They'll be regular with their skincare because they've done it. They put the work in.
When I was practicing in Oahu a couple of years ago, I was actually working at a plastic surgeon's office. And in Oahu, so in Hawaii in general, our population, we're 70% Asian. And so it's like Chinese, Japanese, there's this, you know, Polynesian, there's just like this mix of different Asian skin types. And so what I was doing day in and day out was microneedling, and primarily for PIH, for post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, because with Asian skin, they pigment before they wrinkle. They're prone to PIH. They're prone to keloid scarring. They just have a more sensitive skin. And microneedling is a phenomenal treatment. And when you see the results of how you can improve and get rid of those scars, it's amazing. And you feel so good about being able to help them, you know, move past, because when you have scars on your face, you know, I know if I have one pimple, it's like, I feel like everyone, what was that movie that like Austin Powers when the guy had like the mole?
Oh yeah.
Mole.
Mole. Yeah.
That's how I feel if I have a pimple. It's like everyone's staring at that one thing, even though they're probably not. But it's to be able to free someone of that and just let them feel again like the best version of themselves. That's amazing.
Yeah, I also like I love with the microneedling is that it's mainly non-invasive. We don't do the PRP with it. So just do the microneedling. And when, as a business owner, when we were about to get it, the investment isn't too much with microneedling and the return is a lot. And so when we bought the machine, I told my mom, I was like, I need you in as a guinea pig. I was like, we bought this machine. I was like, I don't know if it's going to work or not. And I know my research and I did all that, but still as a business owner, you always like, oh my God, is it going to work?
The results yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. So we got the machine and we ended up using it, and I didn't get to see my mom for a while. And then 3 weeks later, I looked at her skin, her smile lines were gone, like they were softened, and her age spots had disappeared. And after that, like I was selling those for like, it was so
like
easy for,
because you believed in it. You saw the results. So let's go back to this process. You said you researched a lot. Like you're living in your parents' basement, you're trying to figure out how to open your spa. What were some of the things, like you had to find a medical director, right? So that's a process. How'd you go about doing that?
So with Dr. Annigram, like I said, I started out with her with the front desk, and we have like a weird relationship on and off. If I went back to medical assistant school because I wanted to help her more in back office and doing more surgery. So I did that. And then I went back to working for her again. But during that school time, I also had to work for internship. So I ended up working for another plastic surgeon. So I had worked for different doctors around the area. I've got to know a few doctors actually, but always pretty much stuck with her. So when I actually considered doing the med spa, I got so nervous. I was like, oh my God. No matter who the doctor is, you always get a little bit nervous. You're about to propose this big deal on her.
Yeah.
And, I'm like thinking, do I have everything? Do I have all my, eggs in order basically? And my husband's like, you got this. She trusts you, obviously. And so I went in and we talked, and she was like, yeah. She's like, I trust you. I know you. I mean, we've had, and, it's been great. She's my medical director and she does plastic surgery. So mainly she does, it's been a great referral base as well. So we, in a partnership with each other, she does facelifts and liposuction, but she mainly does breast reconstruction.
So that's awesome. So it's all like, I find that for so many people, it all goes back to relationships.
Yes.
It's so much about relationships. And that's why this industry, the longer you're in it, the smaller it gets.
Yeah.
Why you don't want to burn bridges, like really establish those solid relationships as early as you can, because you never know like who's going to come back. And so that's amazing. So she believed in you, and that's been a really fruitful relationship. That's amazing.
I think it's also finding a good doctor that you have the same belief with. Cause, I've worked with her. I know when she's turned down clients and she's like, nope, we're not going to do her. Don't book her, Supreet. And I'm like, got it. We're not going to book her, and I totally believed in her. And I know she's that type of doctor that won't accept money for like a surgery that, she doesn't believe in, where I've been in other practices where I didn't really believe in what they were doing. I didn't,
There's an ethical line of like, when I was at Medspa Maui, there was one patient who she had gone through a divorce and she was just really having a hard time emotionally. And she came in and wanted to do all of this stuff. And Dr. Stolly was like, no, he's like, we need to wait and let her process and whatever. And I was like, wow, that's really awesome. That's really ethical, because we don't want someone wanting to come in and just like change get, 10 syringes of filler and do all that. And it's like, is that really what you want? Or, he's like, so we ended up, consulting with her, letting her know, but telling her to map it out over a really long process and not doing everything just all at once, because people regret that. And you want to look like the best version of yourself. You don't want these radical transformations, but it is like making sure ethically that you align with the physician. And there are those other ones out there that are like, let's do Botox right away. Let's do, it's like they just want to get you in and do the treatment right away and get the money. And it's really like, you can see through that really quickly.
Yeah. Like we had a discussion, like, I think it's important to have a good relationship with the doctor. You shouldn't be scared of the doctor or vice versa, but like we were talking about getting an injector on board because she's the one who does the main injections, but she was looking on getting another injector on board, and we found one, and she did a couple injections, and then she came back to me and she was like, you know what? I don't like her. Like, it doesn't fit us. So I can approve her that. And that was that. So.
Yeah. But you've got to trust that too. It's like,
yes,
it's probably like nipping it in the butt, like ahead of time, that like, okay, we're going to avoid these problems, because personalities, like anyone that you're doing any type of business relationship with, especially, it's like a marriage of sorts. I mean, it's a real partnership, and you've got to be transparent and open and all of that. So, okay. So you found your medical director. What was next? What was different? Like I'm sure that there's different types of insurances that you need as a medical practice, and licenses and so on and so forth. How did you go about that? How did you go about choosing your product line? Like, was this all just like mad scientist on the computer, like researching?
It was funny because when I was opening the business, I found out 4 months later that I was pregnant. So I don't think I really enjoyed my pregnancy.
Oh.
Like pregnancy, but I enjoyed the business. Oh my God. I was like on a high of business. So yes, I was like researching what I could do, what treatments I can do. I was meeting with all the reps. I mean, I was, I fake it until you make it, you can say whatever, but I was going to buy that machine, and I was going to, whatever, but you give me all the information I need getting information from the reps and making sure it's correct, trying the treatment, demoing it, everything possibly you could think of, getting the best deal out there, making sure I got the best deal out there. Just everything. I was going crazy. I mean, I only had a limited amount of money that I had, and I had to spend it wisely. Now that I think I could probably spend it a little bit more wisely, but you make your mistakes, but I think product line was also like, you want to stay, if I'm going to call myself medical, I want to be within that line. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to have image. I don't think that's medical grade. So I had to get something higher to that, and then also that requires, being a medical, you're able to buy certain products. So I was open to a lot of products, but I wanted to have the right products, obviously. When you're a business owner, you think about everything twice. It's not about, just let's throw money at it, so trying the products, making sure they're right. I was getting my mom, testers to try, my sisters to try, let's see what works and what I like. And we came down to products, but I'm now using Sente, and that's been my go-to line now.
Is Ashley your rep?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ashley.
Yeah. I love her.
And when she came to me, that was another thing. It's like, oh my God, I know I should probably do it. I trust Ashley. And
she's a great rep.
Yes, she's been amazing. And I pair that with my microneedling, and it's like, love it. And yeah, just picking out everything. You wanted to be the same standard. You didn't want to, I know there was a phase where the black facial was a very popular, And I had everybody ask me, they're like, oh, do you do the black facial? But I'm like, we're a med spa. I don't want to be adding the black facial. But for temporary time, we added like the black facial for the summertime. So you do end up doing non-medical things for promotional reasons and add-ons and stuff like that. But for mostly, they're all medical grade.
So what do you think, looking back now, how many years have you been open?
Since 2014.
Okay. What do you think was the biggest challenge in getting your business to where it's at?
Advertising. And like, there's a lot of med spas here. Mm-hmm. And the advantage they have is they're big. I'm solo. Mm-hmm. And it was definitely building a relationship. All those little cards you write, the thank you cards, the calls you do, it does make the world of a difference. And I know that for a fact, because when I went on maternity leave, and you do want that time with your child as well. So I did neglect it. And at the time I didn't have help. Second time around, I did have help. So I did see that I did notice that there wasn't that much of a change. Mm-hmm. So going solo, yes, there's, you don't have maternity leave. You don't have the advantage of that when you work for someone. But yeah.
So advertising, do you do Facebook ads? What do you think is your most effective form of new client outreach? Like it sounds
word
like word of mouth. And do you think that that's from your clients that are already, is it because you have a very tight-knit community, or it's like referral base, so your patients that are coming in?
Yeah. Not that I try to, but it just because I'm Indian. So I get a lot of Indian clients, and they are known to gossip. And so when they're at church, they talk about me. I mean, I remember at church one time, this lady, I'm like totally focused, and she'd like tap me and she's like, you own the med spa, right? And I'm like, yes. And I remember like my mother-in-law telling me, you got to keep your business cards on you. And I'm like, not at my church. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to promote, but I guess I should, but I do now. Yeah. So they've been great about promoting and word of mouth. And I do reward whoever, refers. So I'm very big on that. Because
yeah. And I think that's super, super important, but I would be really curious. I'm actually curious to see what we can do with your business in the next year when we start using different methods of advertising.
Oh, believe me, I know. Like I know when people find me, they're like, oh my God, like, where have you been? And I've been a secret for most people. And I like the clientele that we're building up too. Mm-hmm. But yes, I know there's definitely more potential.
Yeah, there always is.
Yeah,
there always is. So how did you choose your location? Did you know where you wanted to be, or were you just searching different buildings? Like, how did you decide?
That was hard too, because we were staying at my mom, because my husband was like, no, you got to look in this area. We're going to move in this area. And I'm like, we can't depend on where we're going to live, where we're going to work. So I was like, that's out of the question. We have to think central. And at this point, we were looking, and we were even looking at retail space. I was like, okay, let's look at retail space. But that ended up, that was going to be putting too much money on a build out. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that money I could use on a great treatment or, great product. So I was like, I'm not doing that. So that was out of the question. Now it goes to office. So office buildings, yes, they can be expensive too. And making sure they have all the requirements you need, and the permits and everything like that. And honestly, I think I was blessed to find the building I'm in Central Fairfax. So we're like right before downtown Fairfax, where you get parallel parking. Mm-hmm. And so right in front of our building, we have plenty of parking. So clients love that. And then we're on we have elevators inside. And then since we're on the main road and we're right in Fairfax, I think that makes it very nice because we get a lot of lawyers and other business owners throughout the business building. So that has been nice as well. We get through business through that as well.
Wow. So I feel like when I always tell women when I'm talking with them, like, if you have a desire in your heart to do something, whether you believe that's God or the universe or like your intuition or whatever you want to call it, but if you have a desire to do something, I feel like that's put there for a reason, that you are fully capable of fulfilling whatever that desire is. Because we all have different desires, right? So it wouldn't be placed there if you weren't capable of doing it. And it sounds like your story, it's just everything just seemed to be so aligned. And everything just, even though it's a lot of, I'm not discounting the hard work in any way, but it's like this fell into place and this fell into place because you were taking steps. That whole action creates clarity. You're just moving forward and moving forward and moving forward with a community of so many people that support you, which is amazing. I love when things like that happen.
Yeah. I mean, we even looked at franchises. I feel like, I don't know if you heard of Body Bright.
I've not.
It's a new franchise. Oh my God. I feel like I did like every research trying to figure out what path I wanted to take. Body Bright is a laser franchise, and they're actually opening up. There are 2 here in Virginia, I believe now, but that was something we X'd out in the beginning as well. So, but there's plenty of different, it really, wherever you can find your niche. And just like how you said in the beginning, wherever they're in this field, there's endless possibilities, franchises, there's whatever you love.
There's so much. That's what I love so much about this career. And it's like the women, they're not stupid women. They are not stupid women at all. And you really have to know a lot and have to have a lot of passion to be a good esthetician, to provide an excellent service to your clients, and to have the business knowledge. Like that's a really unique skill set. So these women are amazing. So I'm doing my part every single day to let the world know how awesome estheticians are and what estheticians are, because that's another question I get.
Yes.
Esthetician. How do you say that?
How do you spell that?
How do you spell that? Yeah. Well, there's 2 ways. So
yeah.
Just to make it even more confusing. Oh, good. Well, all right, my dear. So let's have one piece of advice that you would give to an esthetician who's considering to open his or her own med spa. What do you wish someone would have told you when you were just starting out?
Oh, wow. I think have fun with it. I think we get lost in getting business. I think, yes, we have to have everything in order. But I think I enjoyed opening the business. I think I really enjoyed it. And I think we get lost in too much. Everything has to be in order to open it. And oh my God, I was so excited to launch my website. I did it within oh my God. As soon as I got everything in order, I just launched it. I was like, I need everything. I want to be open. Yeah. So I think just enjoying each moment. It goes by really fast.
Yeah, that's great advice. I love that. Always have fun too. Yeah, that's so important because life does go by so quickly.
Yeah. I remember being pregnant. I had the laser come in and I'm sitting there pregnant and I'm like, my husband's, don't you dare open that box. And I'm like, oh, fine. So I'm just nitpicking at it, but yeah, you'll think about those hard times will go by fast, but you'll have new hard times.
Yeah, new level, new devil.
Yeah, right.
The game. So where can people find you, follow you, stay in touch with you if they want to check out what you're doing at your spa?
So we're at Skin Sutra Medspa on Instagram and on Facebook. And my personal one is Supreet Ghuman, 03, SUPREETGHUMAN 03 at Instagram.
Awesome. We'll put all those links below the video. So for those of you that want to follow, it'll be quick and easy. Supreet, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and expertise. I know that this is going to really help some of those dreamers out there that are wanting to do their own med spa and just kind of shine some light on what it really takes and hopefully encourage everybody to have some fun. So thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next episode.